Hi everyone, I'm Tom, I'm the Tech Chap. I like to test, analyze and review the latest smartphones, tablets and consumer tech. I'll be running you through exactly what you need to know, the good, the bad and the ugly, giving it to you straight. I'll be telling you how it compares to its competitors, its bang for buck, and just at the end of the day, what I thought of it as just a normal consumer. I got no particular fanboy bias, I'll be giving you my honest opinion and I hope that means something and it will help you. So without further ado, listen, this is my first video, so please be nice. We're going to be talking about the LG G3. Although this came out in June 2014, I'm revisiting it today as my first review because you can get it for a fantastic price of around £300 or $400. That's down from about $500 and $600 respectively when it came out. So although the replacement for the LG G3, the G4, is rumoured to be coming out in April or May, I think for the price of $299 or $399 in America, it's really worth having another look at this. So without further ado, let's get to it. So let's start by taking a quick look at the specs and design of the LG G3. First and foremost, we've got this bloody great 5.5-inch display. That's a resolution of 2560 by 1440, meaning you're a PPI, that's a pixel per inch, of 538, which is bordering on ridiculous. Whether the human eye can even see that is debatable, but it's certainly nice. The colours pop, everything is absolutely crisp, and it looks really, really nice. It's IPS as well, so you retain the good colour saturation as you change the viewing angles, although as you can see, the brightness does fade a bit as you go from angle to angle, but it's actually very, very good and probably better than a lot of other phones at the moment. Is 5.5 inches too big for you? In terms of phone, that is. No, trust me, try one, hold it in your hand. I thought it was originally as well, but because of this ridiculously fantastic screen to body ratio of 76.4%, we've got a huge display within a phone that's not actually that big at all. It's actually reasonably compact. That compares with ratios of 69% and actually even 66% for the Galaxy S5 and iPhone 6. So this is really quite in a different league above that, which is really nice. It means you're not having a stupidly big phone, but you've got a really nice display to consume your media on. Having a quick look at the build quality, we've got a faux aluminium brushed effect on the back. It is most certainly plastic, but it looks nice. And actually my friends have commented that it actually looks more premium than the Sony Z2 and Z3, which I've been using until now. That was a surprise to me because I really liked that phone and how it looked, but I can see why they say that because it does look quite smart, this. Although obviously it is faux, it's nice. It's better than the Samsung Galaxy, what the Samsung offers, and I think it's actually really nice to use, really nice to hold. Inside we've got a 2 gigs of RAM and 16 gigs of internal memory. This is the UK variant. In other parts of the world you actually can get 3 gigs and 32 gigs of internal memory, but many reports say that you're actually only getting about a 5% increase in performance, so it's not a big deal. And you can all these phones offer a micro SD port of up to 128 gigabyte cards, so when you're recording and taking pictures you can save to that and actually save a lot of space. On the back we have a 13 megapixel camera with a dual LED flash and a laser autofocus. We'll come back onto this later because some of these features are quite unique and worthy of looking into a bit further. We've got Wi-Fi AC inside, which is great, fastest Wi-Fi you can get at the moment. Micro USB 2 on the bottom, and it does support Qualcomm's quick charging feature, which means you can actually charge this up to about 50% from nothing in about an hour. And although it does slow down from there, it is actually really quick to charge. It ships with Android 4.4 KitKat, which is nice, and although this is actually on Android Lollipop now because it was available to me in the UK, so it's bang up to date with those. So why does the LG G3 stand out? Why is it unique? Well, firstly, that display. Very, very few other phones have a QHD display. We're looking at the likes of Samsung Galaxy Note 4 that offer similar displays at the moment. And what that means is, and for the current price that this is, you're getting an absolutely flagship display in a very reasonably priced phone. Does it make a difference every day? I would say no, arguably. But when you're looking at above full HD content. For example, if we look at some of the very tasty preloaded videos, like here, although I'm sure this won't come out fantastically well on the camera, we've got a lot of lighting issues. Although these things always look good, don't they? And people watch these on every single phone, and they always look nice. But it certainly is very nice to look at. And it is 1440p. That's actually much higher than your TV. It's higher than my monitor. And so, as I say, 538 pixels per inch. It is extremely sharp and very clear. That really is a selling point and one of the standout features of the G3. Moving on, about its size, essentially, the 5.5-inch screen. It's actually really comfortable to hold. It doesn't dig into your palm. You can get a good firm grip. It's a little bit slippery on the back, but it's nice to hold. It doesn't fall out your hand too easily, although it just did then. 149 grams, not too heavy at all either. I think it's actually really, really nice. It's a really great build quality. It's different. I think that's what I'd take away from this. It's different than what a lot of other companies are doing now. It's really nice to see something a bit different, and that's definitely a plus, I'd say. We've got a removable battery on the inside. If I can attempt to take this off, it might take a second. What we have on the inside is, it's a little bit fiddly this, and I may break a nail. We have a removable battery, 3000 milliamps, which is really, really good, because although actually, as we'll get onto later, the battery life is not fantastic in this, but you can quick swap it out. SIM card underneath here, and micro SD card on the top with up to 128 gigabytes it can accept. So that's really nice. That's actually what everyone wants in a phone. Removable battery, micro SD card. So that's really, really nice to see. So let's pop that back on for a second. Another key feature is these rear buttons. First shown in the LG G2, there are absolutely no buttons on the side, which means it's actually really nice to grasp and hold. Nothing's digging in or anything. So because in fact the buttons are on the back. You've got volume down, up, and the power button. What this means is actually, and this is actually a lot nicer on the G2 because these have quite a textured, almost scratchy feel to them. It feels quite premium actually, and yet the power is a nice smooth metallic, almost metallic. So you can actually feel which one you're pressing on the back. I can feel that this is the power on. I can feel that this is the volume down and volume up. So I actually really like it. And as you would hold your hand, your index finger is actually pretty much there anyway. It doesn't matter which phone you hold it, which hand you hold it in. You're pretty much there anyway. So you can be doing your business and you can use the buttons quite easily. I actually really like it. It's a very different design from other phones. It's unique to this. One thing I would say is that occasionally I am probably, while feeling this, going a bit too far and accidentally feeling the lens, probably putting my mucky fingerprints on the lens. So perhaps it would be nice if this was maybe an inch further down, but it's nice, it's different, and I like it. It's usable. It's not actually the pain in the arse that people originally thought it might be. It does feature some other interesting software, unique software, including Noc Code, which is a step up from the Noc On of the LG G2. What that means is if we go to display and we go to lock screen, we can turn on Noc Code, which splits the display into 4 quadrants, and so then you do a between 3 and 8 knocks for your own personal pin. So if I do, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then confirm that, and do it again, 1, 2, 3, 4, confirm that, then when it's off, 1, 2, 3, 4, and it comes on. Fantastic. And I would say this works about 75% of the time. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you didn't work that time. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. Perhaps making a slightly more simple 1, 2, 3, 4 just on the bottom for ease of reach is probably what I would do. But that's actually really nice, and it saves you having to put a passcode in, although that is a backup option. The other feature actually is, regardless of whether you use the Noc Code, actually double tapping does turn the screen on. I think having something on your desk and then you can just check it, any notifications, just by giving it a little whack is actually a really nice feature. It doesn't work all the time, but it's better than a lot of the other phones who offer similar features. So that's actually a definite plus in my book. So let's take a look at the camera. We've got a 13 megapixel optical image stabilized camera with a dual LED flash and laser autofocus. So if we go to the camera, you'll see, once it boots up, you can actually see this quite nifty laser shooting out at you, and that's its laser autofocus. It was a big selling point from the marketing standpoint that it can focus much more quickly than other smartphones. From my experience, it focuses quickly. Does it focus much quicker than other cameras? I would say probably not. I think it's quick, it's nice. It's not hugely faster. You can see it is a little bit laggy, isn't it? And we'll talk about that in a minute. But there are ways around it, don't worry. Nope, not that one. Yeah, let's look at the camera. Look at the camera. So, I took a picture of my cat, and you can see actually that it is really nice and sharp. You're getting good colors. It's crisp. The lighting isn't blown out, although it's lacks perhaps the punch of the iPhone 6 in terms of colors, and obviously the false screen saturation of the Samsungs. It's a really nice camera, and as I say, coming from the Z3, it is actually a step up from that. It's not particularly noisy in the corners. It looks really nice. So going back to the the focus, which is supposed to be so advanced because of the laser, let's just say it didn't like my cat shaking its head. It didn't capture that particularly well, did it? But maybe that was a one-off. In terms of self-portraits, or how it looks to take pictures of people's faces, here's my ugly mug. Again, it actually came out really, really surprisingly well. It's just it's a shame about the face. Good quality, good colors. I'm actually really impressed with it. It retains, as you can see, that faint painting behind, although it's focused on me. It's crisp, it's nice and colorful. I think it's really, really nice. Finally, there's a outdoor scene. Again, we're getting nice colors, not quite as punchy as the iPhone 6 or the Galaxy, but perhaps this is more faithful. And actually, I actually prefer a more faithful reproduction than some just ridiculously bright reds and blues and greens. And although once we zoom right in, we do lose some quality there. I think compared to others, this is a really, really nice camera. And what probably helps is because these are 13 megapixel pictures on this Quad HD display, we're actually seeing a lot more detail because of the screens. This is one of the reasons why a QHD screen does offer some benefit over a full HD screen. And here's a nice T macro picture of a mug. Again, nice and clear, nice colors. I really can't fault it. Front-facing camera, also good. Talking about the audio really quickly, we've got one speaker down here. Now they say this is a bass-boosted speaker. It's better than the standard rubbish you get apparently in the bottom right corners of phones. Similar position to the Galaxies. It's unfortunate it's still down here because if you're right-handed, you are going to cover it. And it is still lacking compared to the HTC One with its boom sound, and even the Z2 and 3 with their stereo speakers. For an otherwise excellent phone, it's a shame that sound still takes quite a literal back seat. I'll play you something. This is some tasty license-free music I managed to download, so please ignore the actual music, but this is a sound test. So let's give this a reasonable volume, not too high. It's alright. It'll play like a video you take. Besides, you're probably going to use headphones in this thing, aren't you? Anyway, let's stop this. This is awful. I think the point to take away is it's a shame that although we are getting this fantastic screen-to-body ratio, it's a shame we can't perhaps get some speakers on the front. Right, so that's all well and good. That's nice and dandy. Unfortunately, it is not perfect. has a remarkably average battery life. I just clicked that in a bit there. I would say you're getting, at the end of the day, after moderate use at about 80% brightness on auto brightness, I'm getting about 40% left. So I'd say this will do you for about a day and a half. I would definitely recommend charging it overnight. Now the issue here is, if you have this to maximum, it's nice and bright. In fact, probably a bit too bright, especially for indoors. I think it tops out at about 450 nits, which is better than the 410 of the S5, but significantly lower than the 713 of the Sony Z3. So definitely middle of the ballpark there for brightness. But what you'll be wanting to do is obviously reduce it to conserve some battery. But as soon as you press auto brightness, it dims it. Really, it makes it. Actually, that's not been too bad at all because we're inside. Normally, outside, using the auto brightness dims it a bit too much, I would say. So I'm having to leave it still on about 80% with auto brightness. This is probably the best I think I found, maybe 70 to 80. Keep auto brightness on, because or else it gets ridiculously bright and it will just eat through your battery like nobody's business. But for viewing, just for now, I'm going to leave that off. The battery is very average. The fact that we can remove the battery really mitigates it as an issue. You're just going to have a backup in your pocket, or make sure you do charge this overnight. It's not going to stand up as well as the Note 4 or the Sony Z series, unfortunately. Now, the main problem here, and I'm sure you've already heard of this, is it is laggy, unfortunately. This is 2 gigs of RAM inside. Some variants have 3, but apparently that doesn't make a huge difference in terms of everyday performance. If I start by just clearing everything I have here, perhaps turn it off for a second, and then we have a go. Just following what I'm doing here, it's not the fastest by any means, unfortunately. Opening the browser, let's open up Chrome. It's reasonable. But one thing is, you do notice it's just generally within the UI, it is laggy. If you go to apps here, you see that was maybe a second and a half. It's not silky smooth by any standards, and having a absolutely top-end 2.5 gigahertz processor, and this is on Lollipop, it's a shame that this is just genuinely laggy, and it takes away from how nice it is to use generally as a phone. Everything else about it is top quality. It's just, it lags. But there is a fix, and I would really recommend using Nova or one of the alternatives to add on a custom skin on top of this. What this does is you can get it for free, or you can pay a premium of about £1, I think it is, or a couple of bucks. It's not much, but what it does do is it absolutely makes your phone so much quicker. That didn't even do it, did it? Let's try that again. If I go to that, and then go to that, and then set as default. This isn't hacking, this isn't rooting it or anything, this isn't void warranties, it's just putting a different skin on top. You know, it's even legitimately within an options menu once you've downloaded it from LG, so there's no problem with doing this. You get it from the Google Play Store, and there's many other ones like it. But once you do it, you will find that everything is a lot quicker. Camera opens up fast. Well, it didn't actually open up faster, did it? But from using it every day, it does actually speed things up quite considerably. A couple of other nifty features that I like about the LG G3. It does offer 4K video recording. If we click here, you can see that it does offer 4K video recording. Although it also does offer 13 megapixel cameras, that's at 4:3. I like to take pictures at in 16:9 aspect, and so then that has to be reduced to 10 megapixels. It's still good. It doesn't really matter in everyday life. It's just interesting to know. One feature I do like about the LG G3 is its dual window. I came from the Galaxy S5 a few months ago, and there was just so many features on that were just not useful, or I turned off to save battery. Dual window, actually, we're getting onto Note territory here, Galaxy Note territory here, because we can quite easily multitask. So I could put YouTube to one side and gallery to the other. and yep, and that's it. And then we have gallery, and we have YouTube. This is nice to take notes. This is nice to perhaps have Google Maps at the top so you know where you're going, and also your messaging app so you can text people safely, of course, so you can see incoming texts. It's nice to use. To be fair, I haven't used it personally in everyday life, but it's actually quite nice to know that it's there. Finally, if we scroll down into the notification bar here, we've got QSlide apps, which are quite nice little. If we press it, you'll see it comes up. Not full screen. They're just you can move those about. You can carry on doing other bits and pieces. What I do like though is that when you actually get a text message, it comes up like this in the corner, rather than if you're in the middle of a video or doing something else, you don't immediately have the whole screen taken up with this incoming text message. It just comes up almost in a box this size, just like this, and then you can either respond to it within the box or you can just ignore it. I like that. It means it doesn't take over what you're doing completely. So it is laggy, battery's average, but for the price, I really, really like it. It's not perfect. I would really highly recommend putting on one of those skins on top, like Nova. There are many others in the market, but that's my preferred one. I'm not being paid to say that. It's just what I use generally. I like it. It makes it silky smooth. It gets rid of that slight RAM issue that some people have, having only 2 gigs of RAM. That doesn't really make it, that's not really a problem in real life. In conclusion, I really, really like this phone. I think it's great. I think it's for the price. It's an absolute steal, and I'd highly recommend checking it out. You're getting 5.5 inches, you're getting a QHD display, really flagship, top-end specs for really, really great price. 5.5 inches, for some it might put them off, but I think once you try and hold it yourself, you realize you get a good grip. It doesn't stab into your palm particularly. Super slim bezels. It's not that big. And phone sizes are going that way anyway, so we're going to have to get used to it. QHD display, although we don't see it, making much of a difference in everyday activities, when you're looking at your photos and your videos back, and even streaming up to 1440p content, it is really nice and really shows off this screen. Camera as well, fantastic. Not quite as good, I'd say, as the iPhone 6. Better than the Z2, Z3 from Sony. On par with the Galaxy S5, I'd say. And it's got optical image stabilization is a really nice feature that I'd like to see in more phones, and the laser autofocus is quite cool, although it doesn't necessarily make a huge difference in practice. Well, it's not perfect. It is laggy. It is laggy, stock, and I would say, although this is on Android Lollipop, I'd really recommend getting one of the many custom skins you can get from the Google Play Store, such as Nova or one of the others. I'd really recommend it. It makes it so much smoother. It can make it silky smooth. It gets rid of the lag, and it's just one way of making the phone so much more usable. So I'd recommend that. It's up to you, of course. This isn't going as far as rooting it or hacking it. It's just putting a new skin on it, getting rid of some of LG's faff. My friend's reaction to this, were coming from the Z3 actually, is that this looked more premium, surprisingly. That was a surprise to me. I thought the Sony Z2 and Z3, which were quite similar, had actually more of a premium design feel. But when I showed my friends this phone and they had a go of it, I think it's the faux aluminium back that sold them. But they were really, really keen on it, and they thought it was really nice to look at. So that's about it. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I look forward to any questions or any messages you may have. This has been my first review, so please go easy. I look forward to making many more. I'll be making reviews and comparisons on the iPad Air 2 versus the Air, the Galaxy S5, and the upcoming flagships coming out in March and April. So I hope you've enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed talking to you about this, and give me a like. I've put in the description a link to Amazon where you can buy this for the fantastic deal if you like. And you have a great day, and it's been really nice. Have fun. Cheers.